Wednesday, as well as I love a challenge in confronting women, especially when it comes to breaking the biases against women in the house this morning. All right, I have a guest in the house. She's a woman and child advocate, as well as the executive director Initiative for Integrated Community Network in Nigeria, an NGO that sees to the welfare of women and children globally. She's no other person than Dr. Ebunlomo Walker. It's good to have you here this morning.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm
Good
happy
morning.
to be here.
Yes. When you talk about breaking the bias against women, what are these biases as we celebrate International Women's Day?
When we talk of biases, we mean things like prejudice against women, having negative attitudes towards them, very low expectation, you don't like them, or you don't even care for them. When you look at them, you just discountenance them. They're inferior to you. And those biases affect how we treat women. So those biases have led to women being underrated, underrepresented, maltreated in the family, in the community, nationally, even globally. So they are it's a negative trend against women that does not speak well, that does not treat them well, and that must be addressed if we actually want our women to be up there where they're supposed to be empowered, to reach their fullest potential, to contribute everywhere. We want them to have human dignity. When you have bias against anybody, you have lowered the dignity of that person. To you, that person does not count. We don't want that for our women. We want them to be at par so that humanity can move on even wings. When we're biased against women, what happens is that we do not give them the leverage to be what they should be, also not to contribute to the economy and every aspect of humanity, meaning that the humanity is flying on one wing. Can a bird fly on one wing and really make it? So we have to fly with both wings. So we need to strengthen the women. We need to remove those biases.
There's a school of thought that feels that our cultural orientation is one of those things affecting women in Nigeria, because the situations where even elites among the men will say women are supposed to be behind and they are not supposed to be beside or anywhere else, they should follow. So if you see any man that any woman trying to aspire for that, they will think this is about feminism, is on women like.
It is true. It is culturally determined. When we talk of gender, God made us male and female. It is where people introduce the gender aspect. You are a female, you are supposed to be doing this. You are not supposed to be doing that. You are a male, you are supposed to be king over all. So that's how gender came in, and it is culturally determined. Many times it has to do with religion at times, misinterpretation of religion. Because I don't think any religion wants to downgrade a woman, but it is those of us who misinterpret. So we have the cultural aspect. In the families, the women are second. On the eating table, the father, the male, eats the biggest. The females, if there's anything left over, that is their own lot. So we are talking of culture. We're talking of religion. We're also talking of even selfish political. We're talking of a country where the women, 50% at least of the women are not given the recognition that they deserve.
As of now, we have 5% of women at the National Assembly, and here we are talking about the 35% affirmative action. Unfortunately, it was even thrown out of the Senate just last week when the bill came forward, despite the fact that the wife of the president was there to cheer the women on.
It's rather unfortunate. Those who were there making that kind of law are coming from the cultural background, already biased. And they have refused to let themselves see into the modern ways of, addressing these issues. So it is left to the women to find a way to be recognized, to be reckoned with. Left to our men in other countries. We have countries like Rwanda, They've exceeded even the 35.
In
And
Rwanda.
yes, in Rwanda, places like Uganda, they're very high up there. Many of the countries in East Africa, and I think in Ghana or Nigeria, we know we're peculiar. So it is the women that we have to fight for this, that we have to press, advocate. And
we will continue with this particular peculiarity you talked about. Dear viewers, to be part of this conversation, or if you ask questions as we mark the International Women's Day, please simply dial the number on your television set. Okay, having said that, people are talking about the challenges. We had a situation in Liberia years back where Ellen Johnson Sirleaf happened to be a woman president. But up to now, we've not seen a woman as governor in Nigeria. The highest we've gotten to is a deputy governor or a minister.
yes, we're still talking of the same thing. It's an issue that we need to address because we know that we have capable women in Nigeria. It is just those cultural barriers, political barriers that we need to break, the bias, because they dictate the biases against women. So the women we have to continue to press, we continue to advocate, we continue to be activists. We look at Konjo Iweala. She can be a president of any country from her tribe. But if she comes to Nigeria today, I can tell you it will be a Herculean task. So women have to continue to press, to push, to knock, even to kick down, so that we can have our
Before we even come to the issue of workplaces, if you look at it in the political setting, we have situations where we are preparing for election again, 2023 election. We've seen a situation where a woman came out that she wanted to be a president and just one person voted for her. And people started asking, where are other women, even at least, to have voted for her?
That is true. That is true. We women, we ourselves, we are not yet, many of us are not yet, we haven't agreed among ourselves. It is known that we women, we don't support ourselves. That's why we now say women for women. Women should support the women. That is the thing. We should stop being the dancers, the people who they mobilize to go and, during the campaigns, during the voting. So we need to come to the front, and it will take women, all women. So we need to mobilize among ourselves. We need to educate ourselves. We need to look beyond to what is here now so that we can be where we ought to be.
And that takes me to the issue of the home front, because we say charity begins from home or at home. When we have situations where we have parents who train up the children, we've seen situations where they will tell the boy, these are the tasks for the boy, these are the games for the boys, these are the tasks for the girls. And right from childhood, they've been made to know there is a limit to which a woman can go, and there's a limit to which the other counterparts can go. And people are saying these are some of the factors that even affect it.
Yes, it's a big factor, but I think it is changing gradually. A situation whereby the parents put the glass ceiling on their girls. Girls are not supposed to do this. Girls are supposed to, stand like this. They're supposed to be sitting like so. But now, with more education, with more awareness, and looking to see what other women are achieving, that's why we need to educate women more. We need to have more role models among women, so that parents can see that there's nothing that a man can do that a woman can also not achieve. And so that we reduce that kind of upbringing of children. We know in those days, Madam Ransom Kuti, by the time she drove a car, so women can also drive cars. It encouraged more men to send their female children to school, even in those days. So if we have good role models, good things happening, I think it will encourage people.
And that takes me to career, talking about Ransom Kuti that you've just mentioned. There are some courses that they feel is basically for men and they are not for the female folk. And even when you see females, they are always very, very few among them. That even when 40 females start the course, by the time they are ending the course, you discover they have thinned out to almost 5 or thereabouts.
That is true. We have the STEM, that is science, technologies, and engineering, and all those places, all those subjects. It is true that in those days you wouldn't even find, but gradually you got to have one or two, and many more are coming in. And there are now many more programs, trying to support young girls to attract them to do sciences so that we also can be out there as scientists. At least a woman, or some women have been to space. Some women have done wonderfully well in science and technology. If you look at the achievers in the US, even black women, when you are talking of some basic things they're using in space engineering, a black woman contributed a lot. So if we encourage our young girls, and I'm happy that many bodies, organizations, and even government are trying to draw out girls into those courses. And that will increase the equality, gender equality for women.
And talking about gender equality, you've seen some situations where a woman gives birth to like 3 girls without a boy, and you think the family is very upset about it, and they feel, oh, you must have a male child. Why should the females, they don't see it as you've given birth until you have a male child?
I think it is still part of culture and also part of individual makeup. I'm sitting here. My father had only 2 children, were both girls.
Wow.
He did not take another wife. His friends were even encouraging him, but no. He just concentrated on giving us sound education. So it's also, and he wasn't well read. That we say, oh, maybe this is a sophisticated, maybe he has been at same places. But that was his own individual. So it also depends on individual makeup and then on culture. So, but now we educate our women. If you have 3 girls or even 4 girls, don't go for more because of your own health. Because we're also talking of reproductive health of women. That's another aspect where we need to take care of. If we want them to be empowered, they need to be healthy, to do economic things, to be healthy, to get to the top. So, but by the time they have 3 girls, trying another one, another girl, trying another one. I've seen somebody who had 4 girls and tried the 5th one. In those days when graduate women were very few. She tried the 5th one, she didn't come out of it in those days. So we need the women to also know that. And we need to educate our men to, even females take care of their parents more than the males in the end. So we need to address that through education, more awareness, examples.
So how do we begin to have this awareness? Because we've seen a situation where it's not just about the illiterates or those who don't have formal education. You see the elites who also share these ideas, and you keep wondering, where should that education come from? Who should be educated? Who are those who should be educated?
Well, education, awareness talks like this, people get to know. Also, in churches, let's not preach the religion of, oh, it's either male or nothing. It's either male or nothing. When our religious leaders preach these things, maybe equality of, God has created all equal, though we have our roles like that, people, will continue to change.
Yeah. And when you talk about our political sphere, what are you optimistic about? We are talking about 2023. Are you looking at a situation where we can have more women coming on board?
Well, it is just mobilization of women. At least we see the women on top there who are now active. Mrs. Buhari went to, that's part of the encouragement. She's showing that they need to set examples. They need to mobilize, even at the grassroots, also mobilizing women. If we know any woman who can do well, we need to give them the encouragement, the support, so that they can come forward.
So before I let you go, what are your final thoughts on this International Women's Day and breaking the bias against women?
Yes, it's a good day, a day to celebrate women, to recognize women and the roles they've played over the ages, and also to recognize that they have now achievements. Women are getting to be more of achievers, but that we could do more by breaking those biases that have delayed these achievements so that we can accelerate it. It can increase, and so that our women can be at par with our men, have their full human dignity, contribute to their societies, having achieved their potentials.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mulomo Walker, for coming on AM Cafe. We quite appreciate you. We have been looking at the International Women's Day, and at this point, I'll take a breather. When I come back, another conversation with another guest. To stay with us.